How has pollution gotten worse over the years in different countries, and how can we teach others about this problem?
This is our Round 4 Passion Time project
About pollution in different countries over the years.
So this is our graph of pollution in different countries over the years. And it's kind of a little confusing about how we did it because we're mostly comparing the different years, the different countries, not which countries got worse the fastest. So for 2012, we did it out of 7.08 to 149.17. So if we look for Egypt, in 2012 they are very high at like 125, and then over here at Greece it's 87.77. So they're not as bad as Egypt. And then India, back up into the hundreds, is 102, which is worse than Greece. And then in the USA, 61 in 2012. And in Brazil, we have 82.92. So they were worse than the US, but better than Greece. And then last, Australia, they're only at 37.25, which they're much better than all of the other countries and definitely pollute the least. And next, in 2013, 9.85 to 113.79. So as you can see, the lowest number, definitely it gets bigger as the world is only polluting more. And Egypt, now for 2013, is at 89. And remember, these are out of different numbers, so it didn't get better. And then in Greece, 62.69 compared to 89. And then India, 77.81 for 2013, which is higher than Greece. And then the USA for 2013, it's at 32.53, which is definitely better than the past three countries. Brazil is 56.50 in 2013, which is worse than the United States, and Australia, which is in 2013 only 20.89, so they are significantly less polluted than all of the other countries. In 2014, it's 13.43 out of 111.18. Back at Egypt, in 2014, they were ranked at a 91.23 out of air quality. And then in 2014, in Greece is 45.29, which is definitely better than Egypt. India, 74.34, fine. USA, 35.13, definitely better than the others. The USA is not as polluted as we think. And in 2014 for Brazil is 57.58. And then Australia for 2014 is 19.38. Again, the lowest and the best. Next at 2015 is 3.24 to 110.34. And then we'll start with Australia to see how they go up. 21.63. Very good. 58.03 for Brazil. Definitely worse than Australia. And then 31.45. Not as bad. India, 77.72. And then Greece, we have 44.87, which is just a little higher than the USA. And finally, with Egypt, there's 96.62, and Egypt has the most pollution out of these countries currently and in the last few years. And finally, currently, in like 2016, we have 13.1 to 96.05. And then if we start in Egypt, we can see that they are at 96. And then if we scroll over to Greece, which is very below it, you can see Greece is much less polluted and has better air quality than Egypt, is at a 47. And then if we bring it back up to India at a 77, and then if we move back down to our current in USA is 34.94, very good, and now Brazil is 61.18, and finally, if we turn down a lot, we have 22.88 at Australia, and what we can conclude from that is that Egypt has the most pollution, and Australia has the least pollution out of these 6 countries. there are definitely countries with worse pollution than Egypt, and maybe a couple countries with better than Australia. Well, you kind of just took the big, because Australia isn't as big as like the other continents. And we can definitely say that the U.S. is second best out of all of these countries.
Facts page for our Passion Time round, and it says countries and their pollution over the years. And so we did Egypt, Greece, India, the U.S., Brazil, and Australia. And we have like the pictures down here, and they're all the different countries. So that's like Greece, Egypt, India, the U.S., Brazil, and Australia. So I'll tell you a fact about Egypt and what's wrong with the pollution. So Egypt is very polluted and needs to try to stop polluting as much as they do. So this information is as of 2012. So it could have changed because that's 4 years ago, so it could have changed over the years, but sometimes it doesn't. And then Greece this country is not that polluted, but it does have a lot of pollution. Well, by that I mean it does have a lot of pollution, but it's not as polluted as Egypt or Brazil or whoever. So it has a lot of pollution, so they need to stop polluting half as much as they do right now. And this is as of 2012 too. India is very polluted, but still is not as bad as Egypt. India needs to stop polluting as much. So as you could see, we're trying to get the message out that all these countries need to stop polluting. We'll try to stop polluting. So
Well, they could never stop, but they need to not pollute as much.
yeah, they try not to pollute so much. Okay, and then we have the U.S. This country has many cars, and cars contribute to pollution. The USA is not as polluted as it should be, as you think. Not as polluted as it should be. So by that I mean that everyone in the U.S. basically has a car. Not everyone. I'm just saying.
Lots of people.
Many people have cars in the U.S. Okay, and we basically have a quarter of what Egypt has. In Egypt, I don't even know if they have cars. So
Well, they have some.
Well, yeah, they have some, but
They have lots of cars also in cities.
it's not as polluted as many people think, I think. So this is up 2012 too. Brazil, this country is polluted, but not as polluted as you probably think it is. So Brazil, I think it only had it didn't have that high of a percentage, but in some parts of Brazil, I think there's a lot of pollution in some parts, and that's kind of
Yeah, because there's some wild there, but then there's also lots of cities, and then the air quality isn't as great.
Yeah. And we have Australia, and this country is not too polluted and needs to stay this way for future years. So Australia is good, and it just needs to stay good for years to come. So that's pretty much.